This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Pro Series Off Topic. This is episode 19 and it's going to be another tutorial video that's going to be on my social media for Canva. This is all for all interior designers, contractors, landscapers, anything. This is going to be about how to render a floor plan on the cheap way. I mean, Photoshop is kind of the way we learn it in school, how to render a floor plan. Give more perspective on a design and make it look really realistic for clients. And I've done it on Canva for a couple of years now, and I'm kind of going to walk through it on my social media. Canva is a great tool for marketing, and I think there's so many other ways to use Canva that we are not fully utilizing it with, and that's kind of the whole point why I have so many of these videos on my social media and podcasts about Canva, because I think it's a tool that a lot of people are sleeping on in our industry that really need to work on. So there's a Canva free account. I'm using a Canva Pro account, so if you're going to see a lot of things in the video that you cannot do in a free account, honestly, I think the Canva Pro account is 100% worth it. I think don't quote me on this, I think it's like $120 for a Pro account. So worth it. And if you have a team of 5 or so people, this is a great way to completely get your team all on the same branding. I have videos back a couple weeks or a couple months. You could go look back on how to brand your content and how to set up a brand kit. That basically means you import your logo, you import your colors, you import your font. So everything you create in Canva is all seamless and all fits your brand's aesthetic. It makes it all look great. I mean, that's what we're all here for, aesthetically pleasing. Media and marketing, you want your brand to look professional and the way you want it to look. So this is all about floor plans. I'm going to pop in just a random floor plan. I'm going to get on Google and kind of go step by step on how you can make it look as realistic as possible. Again, even if you go back to Photoshop, it doesn't look 100% accurate unless you're a professional in the graphic design department. But I mean, there are some interior designers out there that are very good at it. But this isn't supposed to be a tool that tells your customer how exactly it's going to look. It's kind of like when you show them a perspective or a rendering of, like in SketchUp or Foyer or whatever you guys are using. It's not going to be 100% accurate because it does have that cartoonish look. I mean, there are some programs now that are super accurate and look amazing and look like real life. But this is just a visual for the people or clients that are just not visual people. There's so many people that you explain a design to or show them just materials and they just can't picture it in their space. This is what this is for. I know a lot of designers, there's some times you're just doing a kitchen or something and there's not a lot of time to do a floor plan. Floor plans maybe coming out of 2020 or something will be sufficient enough, but this is more of a rendered floor plan, so it has the finishes on the floor, it has the finishes on the countertop, whatever. I'll just get a random floor plan out of Google and kind of do step by step. There's a way to show shadow and dimension and make it look as realistic as possible. It's basically a bird's eye view of the floor plan. So you're seeing what it looks like three-dimensionally for the most part. Canva definitely has its restrictions, but again, Canva is not made for this. But if you're starting out and you can't afford, Adobe or Photoshop or the whole suite of everything that comes in Adobe, and the one program I do always suggest is Canva, and that's what I get most of my questions on because it's such an affordable thing. You could make it for your invoices, make it for your marketing trifolds or postcards or whatever you want. Canva is there for you, and you could save it. You could add team members. It's such a great tool. But that I'm gonna stop talking now, so you could head over to my social media. But before you head over, we're gonna talk about the Country Music Weekly. This week probably been, in my opinion, one of the biggest weeks of new music, not just in country music, just in music in general. the only one that's kind of worth talking about, and she's kind of country in a way because she grew up in Nashville, is Miley Cyrus. She came out with that new song, Used to Be Young. Great song. I've been a Miley fan for a while. I think she's, in our generation, she just kind of, we grew up with her, and she's been there since we were really, really little. But she's also has that country roots to her. I think she should come out with a country album at some point. It just, I mean, she's done covers with Dolly and all that stuff. I think it just needs to be happening. First person that I want to talk about this week is Tim McGraw. His album Standing Room Only came out. Only was able to really listen to half of it, but I thought it was really good. You know, Standing Room Only is one of those songs that I think I've talked about before that I didn't like when it came out. And then it came out, I watched the music video, and now it's one of my favorite songs of the year just because of the meaning of it. You know, Tim has these songs that really, truly mean so much. The songwriting is, you know, they're not all storyteller songs, but they're always a good meaning, and I think that's what country music's all about. And he definitely has that path since the beginning of his career of these songs that he really puts his heart and soul in, and it really means something to so many people and touches people's hearts. So definitely go check out that Standing Room Only is his album. And then the big album of the week that I've been waiting for a long time is Zach Bryan. Zach Bryan's American Heartbreak album that came out in 2022 was my favorite albums of that year. I actually have a poster of it in my basement. It's just Zach Bryan he almost came out of nowhere. And I don't mean that in a negative way because he was huge before I knew him in 2022 when that album came out. But now that he's mainstream huge, that's kind of what I mean. But his new album, Zach Bryan, is great. It's definitely produced a lot differently, and he was very upfront about that on social media. A lot of inspirations from the Warren Treaty to Sorrel Pharrell, Casey Musgraves, the Lumineers. Probably the Spotless with Lumineers is one of my favorite songs, but the Warren Treaty song, Hey Driver, is also up there. Great album. Definitely go check that out. Zach Bryan just killing it right now. His voice, everything, his sound, everything is just so drastically different than in country music. And I feel like a lot of artists are trying to take that sound and that production of kind of what he's doing, their new sounds. And that's kind of what I want to segue into to the next song is Dan and Shay. They came out with another song off their Bigger Houses album that will be coming out in September. It's called We Should Get Married. Definitely go check out the music video. They kind of poke fun at everybody always saying that they're a ballad duetter. They always have ballads and, you know, love song type of things. But this song starts out that way, and then it takes a turn for like a 90s country song. Really great song. If you aren't a fan of Dan and Shay, still go check that song out because you still might be a fan. And while you're there, definitely go check out Bigger Houses. That's, in my opinion, one, it could be, if they release it, it could be a song of the year. It's just such a well-written song, and I think so many of us live that song on the daily, and just with how society is, we're always trying to wish bigger, and the grass is always greener on the other side. It's kind of one of those songs that take that and kind of spin it into bigger houses, and just definitely go check that out. Next is Jason Aldean announced his new album that's coming out later this year, Highway Desperado, and he came out with a song called Let Your Boys Be Country. I'm a Jason Aldean fan, and I do love his latest single, but this song, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's not him. It just doesn't, it almost sounds like a Luke Bryan song or just another artist song. It just doesn't sound like it should be sung by Jason Aldean. But again, I only listen to it once and I let the song grow on me, and you'll probably hear me later on saying it's a great song. But check that out. Walker Hayes came out with a new song called New Money. Good song. I like Walker Hayes. I know a lot of people say he's not country, but I think he is. It's just a completely different sound. If you're a Walker Hayes fan, check that out. Another great song this week. Bree Lynn came out with a song called Cowboy Don't. It's very 90s, early 2000s sound. Definitely, it's a great sound for him. You know, a lot of people are used to that like R&B country flair to his music, but this is very 90s country in my opinion. And then Matt Stell came out with a song called One of Us with Chase Matthews. That's another good song, just like a well written song. Chase Beckham, which is he's doing great. His song 23 is number 30 on the country music base chart right now, and that's a song he won American Idol with, and it was 2 or 3 years ago, which is crazy. They released it as a single in January of this year because of 2023 and the song being called 23, and it's finally doing well. I mean, I like Chase Beckham. His new song Little Less Lonely is great. It's completely it if you close your eyes and just like think about it, it doesn't sound like him, but I feel like he's finally catching his feet or finding his artistry in his music, and it's a great sound. And he's touring with Luke Bryan right now, which is huge. I think he has another huge future. Aaron Watson came out with a cover of 9 to 5 with Kylie Frey. I've never heard of Kylie Frey, but she's really good on this song. It is Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 cover. It's great. Definitely go check that out. And then lastly, Oliver Anthony Music. You know him. His song Rich Men North of Richmond that has been tearing up the charts. It's just a real honest song that everybody's just really resonating with and loving. He came out with a live version of I Want to Go Home. Check that out. He's such a cool artist. His voice is amazing. His songwriting is so different. They're not songs that I don't know if you don't want to party to them, but they are songs that like touch your core. They really make sense. It's just real life stuff, and there's not a lot of music that has that. I think a lot of music focuses on the production of the song or how catchy it is, but he just says it how it is, and I think that's why everybody loves him. He's definitely an artist that I've been listening nonstop, and I think you should too, so go check him out. Let's head to the country media base chart. Got a new number 1 this week, John Party, Your Heart or Mine. Number 2 this week, Luke Combs with Love You Anyway. Number 3, Jelly Roll, Need a Favor. That was number 1 last week. Kane Brown at number 4 with Bury Me in Georgia. Number 5, Thomas Rhett, Angels. Lainey Wilson is actually in the top 10. We talked about that last week. That's going to be a number 1 soon. Moonshine. That just keeps coming on the radio, and I love it every single time it comes on. It gives you that strawberry wine vibes. Yeah, I love that song. Love Lainey Wilson. It's probably going to be a number 1 in the next couple months. Stay tuned. So if you are still with me and want to listen to me describe how to render floor plans, head to my social media at Eric Dillman Designs. I'll be posting that reel when this podcast comes out. And other than that, have a great week this week on the podcast. I'll have another new episode. I hope you liked last week's with Steve Gregory. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Have a great rest of the weekend.